Hey, what's going on? What's up? What's up? What's happening, everybody? What's going on? It's your girl Tiffany coming through here live in effect. And tonight I'm going to be dealing with the topic going to the underground world, where the big dogs is at, where the street life, where the gang life is. So many of us don't really hear this much about this name very often. Okay. Um, when we think of the Crips, right? The first thing that may come to people's mind is Tookie Williams. Tookie Williams is the first person that comes to mind because he was, um, he was famously known. He was serving life in prison and he was on death row. So he was executed in 2005 or 2004. And there was a movie out about him. As a matter of fact, Jamie Foxx played the character in the movie about him. So when we hear about Crips, first thing we think is Tookie Williams. But it wasn't just Tookie Williams. It was actually Raymond Lee Washington. Now, Tookie Williams founded what is the West Side Crips, but it was Raymond Washington that founded the Crip organization in itself. So I often said to myself, well, how come we don't hear much about Raymond Washington? Why his name is not really brought up? After a while, you hear about the Crips, but you don't hear the name Raymond Washington. So I dug a little deep and tried to find what I could find, and as far as like information or any books that are available, so people can read up on the information. Now, as far as like getting too deep into the politics, as far as like how the initiation process work, etc., the best thing to do is actually talk to somebody that's a Crip member. Okay, they can get into more details about the organization in itself, right? As far as their creed, their code, and all of that stuff. Like, if you want to get deep into the politics of it, you would have to talk to somebody that's an actual Crip member because they got thorough knowledge and they've been in it and they know the politics. But nonetheless, I'm just coming here to give the information, the history, because this is Black History Month, of course, and I feel that you can't just, when we deal with Black history, we can't just talk about the people that just invented stuff, that dealt with the civil rights movement, the educators. We gotta deal with all aspects of Black history. We have to go through like all the details. We gotta get into the origins of things. You know what I'm saying? Even when you go into the street level of things, you got to get into that. And yeah, I mean, the street culture, yeah, it's not pretty to talk about, but guess what? Slavery ain't nothing pretty to talk about either. But it's still dealing with history altogether. So you still got to go into the historical events. Like I said, I have the information, what I have available. I have some books available and that somebody, people can look for. So I got to post those books up. I make sure I post them up. So these books are dealing with the history about the Crips. And one book is called I Am Raymond Washington by Zach Forter. So I'm going to make sure I put that up as well. But let's go into the information about who is Raymond Washington and what made him start the Crip organization. Okay, and what happened to him. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share the channel, and all that great stuff. If there's anybody that want to come in or chime in and give some information or add on to the build or whatnot, I'll make sure I put in the link for you guys. Just let me know if you want to come in, okay? If you want to add on to it, or if you feel like there's some information that's missing and you want to go ahead and put in the information out there, then chime on in there. But make sure you guys share the video to other people and let them know what's going on. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's get started. Let's go to the underground world. So as you can see, this is Raymond Washington right here. Okay. That's him. That's Raymond Washington. That's a picture of him. He was young. Okay. So let's see what the information talk about. Oops, oops, oops. All right. So according to this information off of Wikipedia, and I know that everything is not 100% accurate, but I'm just going by the information that they have as far as his biography is concerned. So, according to Wikipedia, right, it says Raymond Lee Washington, he was born on August 14, 1953, and he died on August the 9th, 1979. So, he was an American gangster known as the founder of the Crip gang in Los Angeles. Washington formed the Crips as a minor street gang in the late 1960s in Los Angeles South Central area, Los Angeles South area, becoming a prominent local crime boss. In 1971, Washington formed an alliance with Stanley Tookie Williams, establishing the Crips as the first major African American street gang in Los Angeles, and served as one of the co-leaders. In 1974, Washington was convicted of robbery and received a 5-year prison sentence, during which his leadership and influence in the Crips declined. So on August 9, 1979, Raymond Washington was murdered in a drive-by shooting shortly after his release from prison. Okay, so let's go into the early life. Right, so it says that, again, he was born in L.A., all right? He's the youngest of 4 sons to Violet Samuel and Reginald Washington. His parents separated when he was 2 years old. He was raised by his mother and stepfather. He grew up on East 76th Street between Wadsworth Avenue and Central Avenues in Los Angeles, South Central. Washington had a half-brother, Derard S. Barrington, from his mother's second marriage. Okay. So it say, according to neighbors of Washington, he developed an affinity for fist fighting as an adolescent and was constantly in trouble with the Los Angeles Police Department for various offenses. Washington's mother is quoted as saying, Raymond was a good kid when he was a boy. Raymond didn't go out of his way to fight or do anything bad, but if someone came to him, he would protect himself, and he was well built. He tried to protect the community and keep the bad guys out. But after a while, every time I looked up, the police were coming to the house looking for Raymond. Some neighbors remember Washington differently. Laurie Griffin Moss, who resided across the street from Washington on East 76th Street, said, I don't have a whole lot of good to say about Raymond. Raymond was a bully, a muscular bully. He wouldn't let anyone from outside our neighborhood bother us. He would bother us. Raymond could be very mean. A friend stated that Washington was a good football player, but never participated as a member of school sports team due to his poor grades. Washington was repeatedly expelled from school, resulting in frequent transfer, attending Locke High School, John C. Furman High School, and alternative school attached to Washington Preparatory High School and Fairfax High School in Fairfax District near West Hollywood. All right, so just give a review. So basically, according to the information, some said that he pretty much, it seemed like he had a good upbringing in a sense. His mother said that he was a good kid growing up. I mean, of course, your mama gonna say that, oh, you a good child and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, your mama gonna speak very highly of you. But his mother said that he really got in trouble and he was a good kid and he didn't mean any harm. But he did have a thing for fist fighting. He was very built. So by him being built and he was a fist fighter, he was quick to fight. Okay, because he felt like he had to defend himself. But other people in the neighborhood said that, nah, he was a bully. He liked to pick on other kids. And he wouldn't let other people pick on other folks because he wanted to be the main one to do it. So he was a bully. So there's 2 different parts of a story about Raymond Washington, how he was coming up as a kid. But also a source said that he was good at playing football, but he didn't play sports because he had bad grades. All right, so just going to that review. So, he was expelled and he was getting kicked out of school. He was going to alternative schools, etc. Now, how did he get caught up in the street life? Okay. So it said here, gang involvement in the late 1960s. There was an increase in youth crime in Los Angeles, particularly in and around South Central's Watts neighborhood. Crime was especially prevalent in the three housing projects located in Watts, known as the Bricks, Imperial Courts, Nickerson Gardens, and Jordan Downs, where violent street robberies were common among adolescent criminals. Older African American street gangs in South Central, like the Slauson, the Businessmen, and the Gladiators, had been ended by activist groups such as the Black Panther Party and Us organization. So Us organization, right, is where Milana Karanga was a part of. Okay, and the Black Panther Party, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, right? So so the Us organization was when Milana Karanga got his start at, and the Black Panther Party, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, and all the rest of the members that was there. Okay, let's continue. The absence of the old gangs saw numerous new youth gangs begin to form in their place, including the Sportsman Park, New House Boys, AC Ducey, and Chain Gang on West Side. Washington, a native of the East Side in his early teens during the rise of the gangs, joined a local street gang called the Avenues, led by another teenager named Craig Munson. At age 15, Washington beat up Munson's younger brother in a fistfight after discovering Munson had put a gun to his older brother, Reggie Washington. After the fight, Washington and one of his other older brothers, Ronald Joe, confronted Munson on the corner of East 81st Street and Avalon Boulevard. According to former gang members who knew Washington at the time, he was subsequently beaten up by Craig Munson in retaliation for his younger brother's beating, and Washington left the Avenues in the late 1969. Washington organized his own gang called the Baby Avenues, recruiting a group of other neighborhood youths in South Central. The Baby Avenues wanted to emulate a gang of older youths called the Avenue Boys, which had been active since 1964 on Central Avenue. So there were other gang organizations, or what we call the cliques, right? Neighborhood cliques. That's what we call them. But, to the police department eyes, they like to call it the gang. But anyways, so you had neighborhood cliques that was already around before there was Crips and Blood. And one of them was the Slauson, right? Let me go back. Yeah, one there was the Slauson, the Businessmen, and the Gladiators. Okay. So those were like the main three that was around at that time period. And then everything else, they came along afterwards. So he ended up joining a gang called the Avenues. Okay. Yeah, he joined the gang called the Avenues, and then when things didn't go well with the Avenues, that's when he said, okay, I'm gonna separate myself from these guys over here, and I'm just gonna start my own clique over here. I'm gonna start my own gang. So that's when he started the Baby Avenues. All right. So he got into altercation with people and stuff like that. And one of those altercations was because of the fact that his brother had a gun pointed to his head. He felt like, okay, I gotta step in and I gotta do something about this, because one of them jokers done put a gun out on my brother. So I recommend you guys check out this documentary called Bloods and Crips Made in America. One of my favorite documentaries of all time. It came out in 2008. Okay, so you had so many people that was on there. Both Bloods and Crips, people that's journalists, hip hop journalists, even artists, reporters or whatnot. I think it's very educational. I think it's very great. So I recommend you guys to check out that documentary when you get a chance to, because that documentary is pretty thorough and it goes into like more detail of the lifestyle and how these people, how the neighborhood is, and how folks, how the folks organize and whatnot, and why they organize the way they do and things like that. You'll get the logistics of street politics. So if you want to learn about street politics on that level, check out Bloods and Crips Made in America. Bloods and Crips Made in America. I recommend it. All right. The next one under here says unification of South Central gangs. So in 1971, Washington approached Stanley Tookie Williams, a similar gang leader from South Central's West Side, who used his reputation as a fist fighter to unite gangs under his control at Washington Preparatory High School, where both were attended. Washington had heard of Williams through a mutual friend who had informed Washington of Williams' toughness and his willingness to fight members of larger, more established street gangs such as the LA Brims and the Chain Gang. According to Williams' account of the meeting, what struck him about Washington was that besides being incredibly muscular, he and his cohort were dressed similar to Williams and his clique, wearing leather jackets and starched Levi's jeans and suspenders. Washington proposed to Williams they form a confederation of the gangs under their influence in their respective areas, along with another teenage gang member called Matt Thomas in Compton, to form a single large street gang. The proposal would see Williams' gang adopt the Crip branding and would be allied with other Crip gangs outside of the West Side, but would retain ultimate leadership in the East Side. Williams accepted Washington's proposal, uniting the West Side gangs under his influence as the West Side Crips. Okay? And it says that the Crips quickly established themselves as the largest street gang in LA, with increasing number and territory as their influence spread across low-income Black neighborhoods. Washington, Williams, and Thomas effectively hold a monopoly on criminal activities in these areas and became the dominant crime bosses. Street gangs that had resisted being absorbed into Crips soon formed their own Confederate alliance, the Bloods, to protect their independence and their interests in the criminal market. The founding of the Bloods sparked an instant rivalry between the new large gangs that saw a surge in violent crime in LA as neighboring Crip and Blood set began using increased violence to fight over territory and personal feuds. With the rise of media coverage, which put these new violent gangs on the front page, soon many disaffected Black youth were running to join the Crip, many without ever being contacted by gang leaders. One story at the time stated, one of the gangs in the area is known as the Crip, which started out at Washington High School as an extortion and terror organization and spread to other schools where the gang members enrolled after being expelled from Washington, the police said. The police also said that this gang has been spreading like an octopus and now has members throughout South Central LA, Inglewood, Gardena, Compton, Linwood, Lancaster, Palmdale, the Firestone area, and the St. Bernardo Valley. Gang members to identify themselves wearing black gloves on their left hands and gold-colored earrings in their left ears, which are pierced according to police. They sometimes carry canes, which they use as a weapon. There are two stories circulating on the derivation of the word Crips. One is that it stands for cripple because some of the founders were injured and had to carry canes for a time. The other is that the founders once wore Afro-style hairdos and their parents made them crippy. All right. So within a few years, much of the original Crip leadership were either in prison or dead. On February 23rd, 1973, Curtis Buddha Morrow, a close friend of Tookie Williams and a high-ranking Crip enforcer, was shot to death in South Central following a petty argument. Mac Thomas was murdered under mysterious circumstances in the mid-1970s. Yeah. So, Now, as far as what I heard about the origin of Crips, they wanted to pretty much, they was pretty much inspired by the Black Panthers at that time. So there was a community center called Community Reform in Progress, right? That was located in LA. So I get it. So the whole argument is that that's where the name Crip come from, because of the alliance of the organization that was a community center that was taking place in LA, and that these young brothers wanted to be inspired like the Black Panthers were. Okay, but again, it created rivalry, created violence, and territories, and all of that. So that's been different things. There's been different things that's being said. So I'm gonna get into some brief materials about that. But as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and share something real fast. So according to this book, right? This book that I have is called The Encyclopedia of Gangs. Then I'm gonna go back to the information about Raymond Washington. All right, so let's go up to here. If you guys can see the screen. All right, so it says CRIPS. CRIPS are a street organization founded in 1969 by Raymond Lee Washington in the South Central area of Los Angeles, California. According to local folklore, the name comes from the combination of the word crib and the acronym RIP, which is rest in peace, that denotes the intergenerational nature of the gang and membership from birth to death. Other important Crip figures included Stanley Tookie Williams, founder of the West Side Crips, Michael Concepcion, and Jamel Barnes. The FBI and other law enforcement agencies described the Crip as the largest, most violent, and most notorious gang in the history of the United States. So the Crips began as an urban phenomenon, yet there are reports that the Crip has spread to most of the major cities in the United States, and that Crips gangs are emerging in some suburban areas in the United States and in cities around the world. And it says organizational structure. Because of the lack of the codified rules and regulation, Crip structure is very flexible and malleable. The Crips gang has evolved from a small gang into a loose network of sets, resembling and federation of independent units, each one with similar but unique organizational structure. Crip sets created alliance with one another in order to fight rival gangs such as their arch enemies, the Blood, and other Chianos and Latino gangs. Ironically, the lack of a centralized governing structure that could implement rules and regulation among all Crips gangs foments intersect warfare. One of the longest and most violent Crip to Crip rivalries is that between the 83 8 Trays and the Rolling 60s. According to Cody Scott, may he rest in peace, a former member of the 8 Trays Crips, this war cost more human life to both of these sides than their war against any Blood or Chiano set. And it says the Crips gangs are territorial and claims specific geographical areas or hoods. The Crip actively recruit African American youngsters from their neighborhoods and schools under their control. They may jump in individuals or absorb entire groups of young crew or cliques. Similar to Chiano gangs, the Crips gangs have shown a form of intergenerational reproduction, that is, the sons and daughters of some Crips members have followed the steps of their parents or older brothers by joining the gang. And also goes on to say the social reproduction of the Crips occurs through the process of cultural dissemination and structural proliferation. Cultural dissemination refers to the adaptation of the adoption of Crips subcultural values by wannabe gang members. Youngsters adapt the Crip walk, relica, blue bandana, blue lace, British Knights, tennis shoes, blue army belt, and slang or Crip talk, using the word cuz to refer to each other to represent their neighborhoods. Eventually, wannabes either stop imitating the gang culture, join adjacent set, or start a set of their own. Movies such as Colors, Menaces to Society, Seawalk, Redemption, Blood, Boys in the Hood, and Rocketcheck have disseminated a stereotypical view of gangs into areas outside the city of Los Angeles and have contributed to emerging Crips of gangs in other parts of the United States. And it says, gangster rap has also served as a vehicle to spread gang culture into mainstream society. Snoop Dogg is one of the most well-known Crip artists around the world. His music, manners, and way of dressing have deeply influenced modern youth culture. More recently, the internet has provided a forum which gang members can disseminate their message. In cyberspaces such as MySpace and YouTube, one can find hundreds of web pages with information about Crips gang cultural practices. And it goes on to say many youth in the United States and around the world have adapted some aspect of the Crip culture without even being aware of it. That's interesting. It says structural proliferation occurs when members of the gang expand their operation to adjacent neighborhoods by opening a gang franchise. The new franchise is usually comprised of members of the original set. The franchise may retain the name of the original set, but add a distinctive identifier such as the name of a geographical location. So it goes on to say, for example, the Rolling 40s and Rolling 90s Crip gangs are thought to be franchises of the Rolling 60 Crips. Structural proliferation was one of the main practices during the 1980s when LA gangs moved into the drug dealing business in order to expand their territory. Crip gangs often fought for control of apartment buildings and housing projects. Maintaining control of the newly acquired territory required the implementation of a new set or the establishment of a franchise that aligns to the original set. However, structural proliferation has not always occurred peacefully. When disgruntled members left the organization and established their own set, they often took an antagonistic position against their mother set. Now, okay, it gets deep. A second form of structural proliferation occurs through a process of set splitting driven by intergenerational conflict. As younger members of the gang begin to socialize together, they create new age-graded set and develop a group identity independent of the original set. Eventually, the new set seceded either peacefully or violently from the original set. In fact, the Crip started as a young gangster YG set from the Avenues gang, taking the name of Baby Avenues and eventually changing their name to Avenues Crips and eventually to Crips. Okay. So it goes on to say the internal organizational structure may differ from set to set, but for the most part, the set are organized horizontally. Horizontal structure allows the group members to make decisions independently while at the same time recognizing leadership roles within the group. This type of structure also allows for a more egalitarian relationships among members of a same age graded level. Members rotate different roles according to the needs and skills. All right, so I know there was a lot that I was reading right there, but basically to sum it up. So, okay, you have like the original organization, right? And you have where some of the members of that original organization, they may not be able to get along with whoever the leader is or whoever the big homie is. So they may say, well, you know what, this ain't working out. I'll just go ahead and start my own, like I was mentioned earlier. And then there was some that might get a pass. Okay. They get the pass to just start their own set. All right. So as the article or as this encyclopedia, right, which I was reading from, as it states that it may turn out to be very peaceful, meaning that they can go and start their own set in a peaceful manner and still be cool with the big homie or the leader. Or it can turn out to be violent and ugly where they might have a grudge against that person that's the leader or other members, and they say, fuck them, I'm just going to start my own shit. I don't fuck with them niggas over there, etc. And so people, I guess what people think is, oh, when there's conflicts, there's always the outside conflicts, meaning that the other members that gang don't get along with another gang member, right? Like there's always Bloods and Crips going at each other. No, it's not necessarily that case. You got Crips going at Crips. You got Bloods that go at Bloods, especially if they from different set of Bloods, right? So you might have this set of Bloods saying, we don't fuck with them set of Bloods over there because them set of Bloods ain't shit, or whatever the case may be. Or them set of Crips over here say, we ain't fucking with them set of Crips over there. All right? And then like you might have, I'm just going to say hypothetically, let's just say you might have somebody that's West Coast blood and somebody that's an East Coast blood, right? Okay, yeah, they might be Bloods, but they may not get along with each other because that West Coast blood may not see that East Coast blood as a blood, and that East Coast blood may not see that West Coast blood as a blood. You know what I mean? So they have some type of conflict and odds with each other. And that happens. Okay, that tends to happen. Again, it goes back to the street politics. It goes back to the street politics. And you can get it, you can understand the street politics better from somebody who's an actual gang member, okay, who actually experienced that. They can tell you better. As a matter of fact, there's another channel. There's multiple channels on YouTube that these podcast channel or the blogs where they do interviews with people who are Crip members or Bloods or from any gangs, and they'll just get into the street politics and all of that. So I will pull those channels up and post them in the comment section so you guys can check out the videos too. Okay, but remember, it's always politics within the politics. Again, it's politics within a politics. So there's going to always be a politics taking place within the organization, even amongst members of organization. So that's the thing. So that's what people got to know, that it's going to always be politics taking place in the politics. Anyway, so here's the origin. So it says there are three main narratives explaining the origins of the Crips, right? Hold on, let me see what that person say. Melvin said Craig Mack, the best LA podcast? Yes, Craig Mack is one of them. And then there was another brother. I think this other brother, he's Muslim, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's Muslim. He has glasses on. I can't think of the name of his podcast, but I know that he had one guy named Mel Cross that was on there. He's from the East Coast, and then the other brother, he's Nino. He's from the West Coast, but both of them are Bloods. I can't think of the name of the podcast right off the top of my head, but the brother that was interviewing him, he looks like he's Muslim. He has on glasses because I remember seeing the podcast before. Yeah, but they was having a conversation about the blood games, but I'm quite sure. But I'm quite sure he has other channels on there as well. I can't think of his name, but you're right. Kev Mack, the best LA podcast. Yeah, Kev Mack is one of them, and then it's multiple channels out there. But yeah, that's one of them, Melvin. You're right. You're right. Let me go ahead and go back to the encyclopedia. All right. So again, I'm reading from the encyclopedia. Okay. It says there are three main narratives explaining the origins of the Crip or Crips. The first narrative places the origins of this gang in the context of institutional racial violence encountered by Southern blacks moving into the city of Los Angeles A second narrative places the origin of the Crips within a political context and explains its emergence as a product of the political vacuum created by the undermining of political community-based organizations such as the Black Panthers and the United Slaves. The third narrative simply describes the Crips as a group of hoodlums and drug dealers who came together to victimize their own communities. The existence of multiple narratives is perhaps a product of both the relatively long historical existence of the gang and of the loose narrative of the Crips structure. So there's three different narratives, okay? So one is dealing with the origin of rebellion against racial violence. The other one dealing with the political concept of it. And of course, the third one is dealing with the streets, just basically saying that these kids just want to be a bunch of hoodlums and be very destructive. All right. So those are the three main narratives of why the Crip organization was in formation, or the origin of it. Institutional racial violence. So it goes down and says the Crips emerged in an area when Blacks in Los Angeles experienced a heightened economic dislocation and social isolation that resulted in the emergence of the American Black hyper-ghetto. In the 1950s and 1960s, when an increasing number of Blacks moved to LA to occupy the booming manufacturing jobs, white residents received them with hostility and distrust. Whites often use violence to prevent them from moving into their neighborhoods and schools. As more Black families moved to LA, white families began to move out of these areas and Blacks became concentrated in South Central area of the city. In 1965, many manufacturing industries moved to Latin America in order to take advantage of cheap labor and cheap product costs offered by newly implemented border industrialization program during the 1970s. As the border cities experienced an economic boom, U.S. inner cities such as South Central experienced a rapid and drastic economic decline. As work disappeared, many of these communities experienced the beginnings of social decay and extreme social isolation from mainstream America. According to Mike David, in the 1950s, Black youth created gangs such as the Businessmen, Slauson, and Gladiators and Watts as a defensive mechanism against violence perpetuated by white youth gangs. However, by the late 1960s and early 1970s, as white residents began moving out of the inner city into the suburbs, excuse me, I just got to stretch a little bit. Okay. All right. Yeah, so going back to what I was reading, however, by the late 1960s and early 1970s, as white residents began moving out the inner city and into the suburbs, groups such as the Black Panthers, CORE, the Nation Islam, and the United Slaves began recruiting gang members into their ranks. Black youth learned the ideology and organizing strategies used by community-based organization and implementing them within their own set. Okay. Somebody put, let me see. Manny Fresh. Okay, Manny Fresh. I'm just playing. But anyway, he put, I'm from Memphis and I'm a Grape Street Crip and was shot and paralyzed in a shooting at the age 13. Crazy getting shot for a block I never been on. Keep up the good word, love, peace. Wow, that's deep. That's very deep right there. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go ahead and post a link in here, and then you guys, if y'all want to come on here, y'all can come on here and y'all can share some information. Y'all can share y'all experiences or whatnot. Wow, that's really deep right there. I'm sorry to hear that you had to go through that, brother. I'm glad that you're still here. Glad that you're able to speak, and you still able to get around and whatnot. Yeah. And see, that's the thing too. I'm glad that brother kind of put that out there, because that comes with a cost. You know what I'm saying? It's a life or death situation. See, people think that folks can get in the game and they can get out of it, and it don't come with a price tag. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? See, you just can't join something or join something like a street gang and think that you can just get out automatically and you be good to go. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't always happen. You got to pay the price with your life. You know what I'm saying? It may not be easy. So, but then, I'm going to get into my commentary later on with all of this. You know what I'm saying? I just want to get into the origin because I don't want to continue to bring about a distraction. But yeah, it's a lot that goes into this kind of stuff, man. Real talk. But I'll get into that later once I get done. All right. But let me go ahead and let's go down to what it says political mobilization. All right, so down here what says political mobilization. Okay. I'm trying to adjust the screen up just a little bit. Let me adjust it. All right, so it says ex-Black Panther member Mumia Abu-Jamal traces the origin of the Crips to a community organization named Community Relation for an Independent People. This organization espoused the ideas of self-determination, Black nationalism, and community activism characteristic of many Black organizations from the 1960s. The main activities of the community space included cultural affirmation and group socialization. However, police and government agencies truncate the early political roots of the Crips when they declared war against Black political activists of this era. Black political leaders were either imprisoned or assassinated, leaving a social and political vacuum in these neighborhoods. All right. So the Crips then developed in an area in which the Black community experienced extreme social, political, and economic marginalization, although there were several attempts to redirect them towards political and community-oriented goals. The new generation of Crip members became lost in a vicious circle of endless violence for street supremacy. Crips began victimizing other Black youth and forcing them to join. The victimization of other Black youth led to the emergence of the blood gangs in the early 1970s, the crack epidemic, as well as the ready availability of semi-automatic weapons exacerbated the cycle, destroying the lives of hundreds of youth and adults. It also laid the basis for the self-hatred that permeates the streets of South Central. Throughout the history of Crips, street activists has attempted to redirect the organization to their political roots. Black Panther members Michael Zazun, RIP, and Piru member Twilight Bay from the Coalition Against Police Abuse and the Community in Support of the Gang Truce have worked with gang members to resurrect their political roots. Today in Los Angeles, Crip young gangsters have begun to recognize and celebrate these roots by redefining the word Crips as in community revolution in progress, community resources for independent people, community reform in progress, continuing revolution in progress, and clandestine revolution international party. All right. So, again, this comes from the encyclopedia about the Crips. So, according to Mumia Abu-Jamal, the origin can be traced back to the Community Relation for an Independent People. All right. So, which was the community organization that focused on Black nationalism in the community and whatnot. So, I'm going to show you guys the name of the book. So, right here is the Encyclopedia of Gangs. All right. And what year was it written? It was written in 2008. Okay, so it was in 2008, but it's still relevant. So I would recommend you guys get this book as well for those of you who, who really want to know more and who wants to read about this. Yeah, look up Encyclopedia of Games. All right, so I'll make sure I keep you guys posted on that. So let me go ahead and put this into the conversation. So for anybody that want to come on here, you guys can do that as well. Okay, so let's go back to Raymond Washington. Let's see. Melvin Manny put, I'm a mentor here in Memphis to help out the youth, and I'm very blessed to be independent, no doubt. It's not a game. Well, that's great. I'm glad that you're doing work out there. It's a lot of things that's going on out there in Memphis as of right now. Rest in peace to Young Dolph. Rest in peace to that brother. He lost his life tragically. Yeah, it's a lot, and I know it's a lot of gang politics out there in Memphis. Like, gang politics is heavy out there for real. But like I said, it's a good thing that you actually doing work, and you either, you tell your stories. So hopefully somebody can get some type of inspiration behind it. So if anybody else want to join in, or they want to tell their story or share what they've been through, the link is inside the comment section. Just make sure you click on that link and then just come on in here, and then we can build from there. We can have a conversation. All right. But other than that, I will go ahead and continue. All right. So going back to Raymond Washington, right? Going back to Raymond Washington. Okay, so it says here, robbery conviction, right? So in 1974, at the age of 21, Washington was arrested for second-degree robbery and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment at Duell Vocational Institution in Tracy, becoming the first Crip to be incarcerated there. Washington was unpopular among the prison population as he began to recruit young African-American inmates into the Crips, much to the disapproval of established Black prison groups like the Black Muslims and the Black Guerrilla Family. And the Black Guerrilla Family is connected to the late George Jackson. So George Jackson was one of the founders of the Black Guerrilla Family. Okay. Anyways, according to a former inmate who was housed at Duell with Washington, the Black Muslims and the Black Guerrilla Family were aware of the spread of the Crips in Los Angeles and warned Washington that they would not tolerate the formation of Crips in the prison. Washington faced another problem while serving time at Duell, as the Crips murdered rival gang members on the streets of Los Angeles. Inmates at Duell who were relatives of victims held Washington responsible for their deaths. Greg Batman Davis, a friend of Washington and an original Crip member, stated, people in the prisons were losing their loved ones on the streets, and because Raymond was the founder of the Crips, they blamed him for it. And since Raymond was the only Crip up there at Duell at the time, they were trying to kill him. They were trying to kill him then because they found out he was the founders of the Crips. So there was people that was incarcerated who lost loved ones to that lifestyle or to those who were Crip members. So they're like, okay, we see that your ass is the Crip and you the founder. Okay, we got an eye on you. We gonna watch you. We gonna watch everything that you do. We gonna watch your every move. And every move that you make, just know that we got eyes on you, man. You ain't safe up in here. So that's pretty much what they was letting him know. So right then and there, he was facing problem in prison. He could serve his time peacefully because they knew who he was, and they found out that he was the founder of the Crips. They like, oh yeah, nah, you better not come with that shit. Oh nah, we watching you, bruh. Oh, you the reason why my cousin, my brother, my sister, or my homie, or etc. got killed because of your little gang out here, because y'all want to run shit. So they wasn't playing with him. You know what I'm saying? They really wasn't playing with him about that. And then it goes on to say, hold on, in 1976, Washington paroled from prison and returned to Los Angeles. Reportedly, Washington was shocked to discover that the violent war between Crips, Bloods, and Hispanic gangs has escalated to the point that fighting using firearms as opposed to fist fighting was now normal. So Raymond Washington was used to fist fighting, okay? But when he was locked up and he came out, he realized that it was more so of firearms and weapon and less fist fighting on the street. So for him, it's like it was a shock. It was like, damn, this is what y'all niggas doing now. Y'all niggas goddamn shooting each other. Y'all niggas, y'all picking up guns now. Niggas ain't fighting no more. That's how he was perceiving it. Like, damn, what the fuck? Well, damn, I must have been gone too long. Cause now I'm back out here and I see that y'all niggas goddamn taking guns and shooting each other. What the fuck is that about? So, and that's what he wasn't built on that principle. His thing was beating niggas ass. You know what I'm saying? Beating niggas ass, fighting motherfuckers and just get it over with. Using bats. He wasn't on there using gun shit like that. So when he came out, it was just a shocking thing. He was like, damn, this is what niggas on now. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue. So the wars between the Crips, Bloods, and Hispanic gangs has escalated to the point that fighting using firearms as opposed to fist fighting was now normal. Over the next few months, Washington became disillusioned with the Crips as the gang committed more violence and senseless crimes, with new recruits seeking to build their reputation. Since Washington's imprisonment, the organization had totally broke down into loosely affiliated, decentralized sects that often fought each other, as the Crips' original leadership had disappeared. Tookie Williams, the last remaining original Crips leader, served as a de facto leader during Washington's imprisonment. Williams had been injured in a drive-by shooting in 1976 and developed a growing addiction to PCP. Damn. That caused his authority to wane until he was arrested for 4 counts of homicide shortly before Washington was murdered. According to law enforcement, former gang members and close friends, Washington had decided that Crips need to be brought back under one umbrella organization to stop in fighting and then to work towards a truce with the Bloods. So even then, when Raymond Washington got out of prison, he was talking about building a truce. He was talking about, look, y'all need to stop fighting amongst each other and let's working on forming a truce with the Bloods. So even back then, he was on it. You know what I'm saying? But it took 1992 or was it 1993 after the Rodney King situation, right, for the Bloods and Crips to actually form a truce. All right. Now, I'm not saying that everybody got along and said, okay, we're going to be buddies and we're going to forget about the shit that happened, man. We just going to chop that shit up and let it go. No, not everybody. But there was those who were willing to do so, you know what I'm saying, on a collective scale, on a larger scale. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you don't hear as much about gang violence like that anymore, because, I mean, it's still around, but it's not as common as it used to be. Okay, it's not as common. I mean, there's still rivalries taking place. Okay, and nowadays, and these rappers better be careful while they out here playing around with that shit. These rappers who going around here claiming that shit, y'all better be careful, because niggas watching y'all asses for real. You know what I'm saying? There's been rappers over the years that done got clapped over some bullshit, man. So for them rappers out there that's coming up and thinking that y'all can just go around here and just claim some shit and just say some shit and ain't nobody gonna touch you because you the biggest name in the industry and you got all this money, that don't mean shit, okay? That don't mean shit. So these rappers, they getting clapped. They better be careful. So yeah, Ice-T was telling them, right, if your ass go to LA, you know what I'm saying, for all you that went to LA, your ass better be careful. Them motherfucking gangs on deck, okay? So yeah, Ice-T was telling them the right thing. But anyways, the whole thing with the truce was, let's reduce the amount of violence that's taking place and let's focus on the common goal. All right. So it took what happened to Rodney King for the Bloods and Crips to say, all right, let's form a truce, man. Because we already got one brother getting beat up by the cops. And that riot lasted for a goddamn, a week? That was a long ass riot. It lasted for a whole fucking week. A whole fucking week. All right. Motherfuckers were tearing up shit, burning up shit, dragging motherfuckers out the car. Once they saw what happened to Rodney King. All right. So yeah, it took that to bring the troops together. And one day I'll do a video about the gang troops, hopefully, to tie it back into this topic and this conversation. Okay. But yeah, it took that for them brothers and sisters to come together and say, let's just chill out for a little bit. Let's put our focus into something else. It wasn't an easy thing to do, but it was done and it happened. Okay. But yeah, so Raymond Washington was on that. Well, let's chill out, man. Let's just form a troop, man. We ain't gotta keep goddamn doing all this shit. Y'all doing too much. Y'all getting off the chain with this shit, man. And that's how he felt. He's like, y'all niggas off the chain, man. Y'all niggas just need to chill out, man. Let's do something else. Okay, but he wasn't using my slang, but you know what I mean. They had their own little slang back in the day. Anyways, and then check this out. It says, according to law enforcement, former gang members and close friends, Washington had decided that the Crips need to be brought back under one umbrella organization to stop infighting and then to work towards a truce with the Bloods. Upon realizing he no longer held influence in the gang, Washington started to distance himself from the Crips. Now, wait a minute. He had no influence in the game anymore, right? He started the Crips. He was the main one that started the Crips organization. And Tookie Williams started the West Side Crip. But seeing that they had no control because Tookie Williams got shot and Tookie was hooked on drugs after being targeted by a drive-by shooting. Right, and them drugs, that PCP ain't no joke. That PCP does some serious damage to you. So them drugs got to him and messed him up, and he got out there and committed some type of got involved in homicide, and he ended up going to prison. And then Raymond Washington realized he couldn't have no control over the gang he started. He's like, damn, these niggas really off the chain, man. What the hell do I need to do now? Okay, I can't do shit now, so now I guess I got to get the fuck away from this shit. I need to just get the fuck on. I need to step away from this shit because they doing too much, man. I ain't with all that shit, bro. Fuck this shit. Y'all can have that shit. That was his attitude. So he started dissing himself. He was like, man, y'all can have this shit, man. Look, man, fuck it. He's like, man, fuck this shit. So that's usually what happens. See, you start something, and then when things get out of control or beyond your control, it's like you have to make the choice. Well, okay, I got to give this shit up now. Ain't nothing I can do. They not gonna listen to me. These are new motherfuckers. These ain't the same people that I knew before I went to prison. Okay, they recruited some more people, and these motherfuckers here, they so damn rebellious. They got more. They too damn ruthless. They so ruthless. What can I do? I can't do shit at this point. I can't even stop this shit, man. Y'all on your own. And that's what it was. And I mean, it's a sad thing, but that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? You can't control everybody. And he realized he can't put control into every individual in the organization because people are going to end up doing what the fuck. You have creeds and codes, motherfuckers going to do what they want to do. So it's like you can't control every individual, and it's hard to keep up with everybody. And that's what it was with him. He had a hard time keeping up with everybody, man, because it was new members that was recruited when he got locked up, and he was like, man, I can't keep up with these cats. But it says around 10 p.m. on August 9th, 1979, 25-year-old Washington was murdered in a drive-by shooting on the corner of East 64th Street and South San Pedro Street in South Central Los Angeles and was rushed to Morningside Hospital where he died undergoing emergency surgery. No suspect has been arrested, and Washington's murder remains unsolved. It was reported that Washington was hanging out on the corner when a car pulled up, and unidentified occupants called called him over to the car. Washington associates, as well as the police, were aware he could never walk up to the cars of people that he did not know, and he most likely knew the occupants of the vehicle, as he told an acquaintance that he knew them. Washington engaged in a brief conversation with them before the occupant in the passenger seat drew a sawed-off shotgun and shot him in the abdomen. Damn. And there go the references at the bottom. And then there's a list of unsolved murder. So basically, his murder became a cold case. It became a cold case, so they had no way of finding out who was the person that murdered Raymond Washington. But the thing was, he knew these people. He knew the person that shot him. And see, there's a saying go, it's always somebody the closest to you that's going to do you the most harm. It's always somebody the closest to you that's going to do you the most harm. Always somebody the closest. And that was the case with him. That was the case with him. Somebody that was closest to him, somebody that he knew, did the most harm. And that was the same story with Nipsey Hussle. Somebody that was closest to him, somebody that he knew, shot and killed him. So you got to be careful, because your enemy ain't always from a distance. Your enemy is the ones that you always... Your enemy can be the ones that you grew up with. Your enemies be the ones that you done sold drugs with. Your enemy is the one that you done hanged out in the clubs with. Your enemy was the one that you used to go out there and goddamn beat motherfuckers up with. Your enemies could be the ones that you share the same mother and father with. The same people that you grew up with. That could be your enemy. It does not always have to be a stranger, but somebody that's close to you. And that's the fucked up reality behind it. And don't try to do something different with your life. Don't try to goddamn change your life up and become a better person, because that's when they really show their true colors. Then. And then they'll turn on you. They'll turn on your ass in a heartbeat. All right, so for you guys, here's a book called Crips and Bloods, A Guide to an American Subculture by Herbert C. Covey. Crips and Blood. All right. All right, so you guys need to check out this book right here when you get a chance to. All right. Also, the movie about his life is called Gangsta King, Raymond Lee Washington. It came out in 2003. Lords of the Mafia, Raymond Lee Washington. All right, so here's another book. It's called I Am Raymond Washington, Zach Forder, award-winning author of Street Creds with Gerard Brereton, the authorized biography about the original founder of the CRIPS. Okay. Okay, so that's the Crips. All right. It's called I Am Raymond Washington, and it was written in 2015. Okay, so there's some more books. Landed on Black, Hero to Zero, The Curb Check Collection, Curb Check Reloaded, Street Creds, Curb Check. So let's see what information I can find in this book. All right, so let's go to chapter 1. It says, a journey of 1,000 miles began with a single step. Lazuz, the way of Lazuz. All right, so that's the founder of the Taoism. Okay, let's see what else. So it talks about in here, it says the Watts riots and Raymond's 12th birthday. So how long? Not long, because you shall reap what you sow. Martin Luther King, March the 25th, 1965, Montgomery, Alabama. All right, so let's see what else we can find in this. All right, so let's just read a little bit about it. It says Raymond attended 79th Street Elementary School and later Edison Junior High School and Charles Drew Junior High School. As he got older, it became more difficult. His education in the streets of Los Angeles didn't fit well with his education in the school system. One was a very real battle for survival, while the other promised a better life through education. Raymond could read the writing on the wall. No one he knew had escaped the brutal reality of South Central LA. It was difficult to believe that there was a life outside the explosive war zone that LA was about to become, and it was happening right in front of the 12-year-old boy's eyes. The city that Raymond Washington grew up in as a child was one of the most dangerous in the country at the time. The Watts riots would erupt less than a mile from his home the same week as his 12th birthday. They began when LAPD motor officer Lee Monakis arrested Marquette Fry for drunk driving. An article written in the LA Times 25 years after the riots gives some insight into what Monakis felt his own culpability in the riots were. It says a quarter of a century after the LA riots, the ex-motorcycle officer said he feels little regret or responsibility for the chaos that visited South Central LA that fateful night 25 years ago this month. Although he was saddened by the incident, Monakis said he has never allowed himself to be cast as the man who started the Watts riots. I was just doing my job, said Menikis, who took early retirement 4 years ago. That's why we got paid to arrest people breaking the law. Marquette was breaking the law. Menikis said he had not noticed Fry until a man in a pickup truck alerted him to the 1955 Buick Special that Fry was driving. I was on my motorcycle and the driver pulled up to me and I said, see that man, I think he's drunk. Monakis recalled. I noticed Marquette was speeding, so I got behind him. Marcus said he followed the Buick up El Segundo Boulevard and stopped Fry at 116th Place and Avalon Boulevard. When he walked over to the car, Menakis said he noticed immediately that Fry appeared drunk. When Fry climbed out of the automobile, Menakis said the officer put him through a series of sobriety tests that Fry failed. I told him he was under arrest, but he was real nice about it. Menakis said he was joking around, putting on a show for the crowd that he had started to gather. I was even laughing. Menakis said the laughter swiftly turned to rage when Fry's mother, Rena, showed up. She scolded her son for being drunk. Menakis said, and suddenly Marquette became surly or slurly, whatever. When Menakis tried to arrest Fry, he jumped back and verbally snapped at the officer for the first time. Menakis' partner, Bob Lewis, who had shown up as the crowd group called for a backup officer. It might have been easier to have dropped it right there, but it's hard to back away at that point, Menakis said. I had already told the guy he was under arrest. And Menakis said that when he backed up, officers started arriving minutes later. One of them tried to stop Fry from disappearing into the crowd. A backup officer tried to hit Marquette on the arm with a baton. Menakis said, but Marquette bent over and was hit just above the eye. Fry backed into Menakis, who grabbed him to place him in one of the patrol cars. Then Fry's brother punched Menakis in the kidney, the officer recalled, and their mother jumped on his back and tore his shirt. We put them all in the same car, and then the officers began leaving the scene, Menakis said. But the crowd had gotten really angry by this time. I didn't stay around to see what happened. The riots ensued after an officer tried to arrest a woman he believed had spit on him during the Fry arrest. The crowd grew more enraged by what they believed was his abuse of the woman. They tossed bottles at the patrol car as the backup officer sped away, the woman in the back seat. So yeah, then it goes on to talk about Officer Menakis claimed to have been aware of the effects that the arrest had on the public until much later. This wasn't surprising. In my experience, it was the typical mentality of a traffic cop. They saw the world as black and white, right and wrong. There was no shade of gray in their mind. I was just doing my job was a very narrow focus on the real issues that a cop experienced on a daily basis. It could be extremely comforting for the officer to see his own action and not the bigger picture. This made him a part of the problem via apathy rather than becoming part of the solution. The results were obvious, and even after his riot and the obvious message is sent, they again became obvious in 1992 after the verdict in the Rodney King trial and the following riots. Nothing had changed. So it says, it was likely that Raymond Washington had no idea at the time what started the riots. Realistically, he probably didn't care. The reality, though, was the city he lived in was instantly transformed into a very real war zone. Within a few hours of the original traffic stop, the city was engulfed in rioting. Residents in the area were attacking any police officer they found by shooting guns and throwing bricks, rocks, and chunks of concrete at their cars as they responded into affected areas. Buildings were burning and snipers were on the rooftops shooting at police. On the second day of the rioting, Raymond woke to a city transformed. The police chief, William H. Parker, requested the assistance of the National Guard to stop the rioting because the LAPD had lost control of the 46 square mile swath of the city affected by it. Raymond would have witnessed armed National Guardsmen carrying rifles and walking on foot patrols similar to the patrols carried out in the jungles of Vietnam. Soldiers with bayonets attached their rifles walked the streets. And it goes on to say, any normal child would have seen this chaos and open warfare in the street and most likely been too afraid to leave the presumed safety of their homes. Raymond Washington was not a normal kid. Fearless, self-confident, and defiant, he didn't understand or didn't care about the danger that surrounded him as he left the house on the night of his 12th birthday. During the peak of the riots, Raymond's younger brother, Derod, said, Raymond snuck out of the house late one night during the riots. I thought he was crazy, but there was no stopping him. Derod told me that Raymond snuck around cautiously, avoiding the several thousand National Guardmen and nearly 2,000 police officers in the area, not to mention the sniper looters. Gunfire and screams were heard throughout the night as Raymond made his way to a nearby white front sporting goods store that had been looted. He returned home a while later, dragging a huge box of basketball, football, softball, and sporting goods he had taken from the damaged store. All right, so that's just part of the information about Raymond Washington. So as a child, he has witnessed this type of violence that took place. Okay. He became an eyewitness to gun violence and LA riots and whatnot. All right, so that's that information about Raymond Washington. Peace to Centavo. My bad, brother. I was going over the materials. Shout out to you, brother. Peace be upon you. Okay. So yeah, let's piggyback. Now, I know y'all was watching the Super Bowl. Although LA kicked the Cincinnati Bengals behind, well, they ain't beat them, they ain't blow them out or nothing like that. They won by 3 points. Okay. So there was the performances with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and 50 Cent and Eminem and Mary J. Blige. So they were saying that Snoop Dogg was doing the Crip walk and all that other stuff. Eminem kneeled down. Dr. Dre and whatnot. Let me say this, okay? And some people gonna get mad because I'm about to say this regarding the Snoop Dogg. Okay, so Snoop Dogg did the Crip walk. He throwing up the Crips and he dancing or whatever. Snoop Dogg has been a commercial success. As a matter of fact, no, he has commercialized the Crips. I'm gonna say that Snoop Dogg has commercialized being a Crip. So it don't impress me that he's doing the Crip walk dance, because here's the question: where was this particular Crips and all the other Crip brothers, right, when Monster Cody was found dead in a tent in LA and he was homeless? That's why I'm not impressed by that. He can throw up the Crip seeds all he wants to. He can do the Crip walk dance, but my thing is, where was that unity at for Monster Cody? That I just have a question. I know I'm not the only one with the question, because Monster Cody was found dead in a tent and he was homeless. This man put his life on the line. He was a Crip ever since he was 11 years old. He was an 8-tray Crip. Okay, he was 11 years old. And he ended up getting locked up and writing an autobiography about his life. As a matter of fact, I'll be right back. Give me a moment. All right. So this is this man book right here. Senyaka Shakur. Monster Cody. Autobiography of an LA gang member. He wrote this book while he was in prison. Okay. This man right here. And you know, it's not easy telling your story. And I did a video about him before in the past. It's not easy telling a story about what your life was like growing up as a gang member, especially giving an outline of what you have done. Giving an outline of what you have done. My thing is, This man passed away. He just died, a year ago. Okay. They found this man in a tent. I just want that to register. And it's sad. You let your big homie die homeless in a tent. It's sad. And what they don't tell you is the other Crips that's out here that's doing community reforms in the neighborhood. Let's look up hold on. Let me look this up real fast. Just give me a moment because I'm about to pull it up. Okay. I can't find the name of the article. Maybe I'm not putting down the name of the article, but I've seen a video where there was a news report, right? A former Crip member who just got out of prison. He was from Compton. So he went back to his old neighborhood, the projects he grew up in. And he was trying to raise some money up to help reform the projects. Or, it was some issues going on over there. It had something to do with the water pipes or something like that. Or whatever the case may be. It was some type of mechanical issue, maintenance issue. So he was trying to raise some money up to, take care of what's going on. He went to the city council. Up there in Compton. And he told them, hey, this is what's going on over here. These people are dealing with some serious issue. Can we get this taken care of? I need some help. So he was trying to get help over there. And guess what they did? They told him no. They rejected him. They told him that they wasn't going to help him. And this is a Crip brother, by the way. He's a older gentleman. He's an OG. And he was trying to do something for the community. And they told him no. The city council did in Compton, California. So now, I'm not impressed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm not impressed with the fact that Snoop Dogg was Crip walking on the stage, throwing up the C's. I'm not impressed because as far as my concern, he's been commercializing the Crips. You know what I'm saying? He ain't the only rapper that's been commercializing these gangs. And I personally feel that is very disrespectful, in my opinion. I feel it's disrespectful. And why I say that, because these are brothers and sisters who are actually out there in them streets. And they ain't getting little to no help. You know what I'm saying? But you got some rappers that's from your hometown, right? Or that's coming to your neighborhood. They want to show their face just so they can look good and shit. And they get on there and they want to do the Crip walking dance and do all this extra shit. But they not really trying to help you. These are the same motherfuckers that won't even go to the prisons and visit those who are locked up, who are currently serving 25 years to life. I'm just saying. So I'm sorry if I'm being kind of condescending, but I'm not impressed. He can Crip walk all day until he can't even do it no more. But I'm not impressed. So there should be some questions circulating as to what was y'all Crip niggas that call yourself Crip? And why did you not check on your big homie? Why y'all not checked on this man? This man should not have been dead. He should not have been nowhere homeless. Broke his shit. Dead. He done put a lot of work for y'all asses, and Nobody couldn't get him a house. Nobody could make sure that he was stable. Nobody could make sure that his bills was taken care of, his medical expenses and all of that. Y'all just let the man die out in the open. So yeah, I'm not impressed. So yeah, he can do the little Crip walk dance all day long. I'm not impressed. Because y'all didn't take care of y'all big homie. Y'all let that man die. Y'all going around here commercializing this shit. I seen one little girl. What's that little peon's name? Her name Ruby Rose, the rapper. So, and I have an issue with this child right here. So this child gets on the interview with Vlad TV. And I don't like Vlad worth of shit. Shout out to Asian Doll for going in on his motherfucking ass. I don't blame her because I would have went in on that nigga ass too. He don't care nothing about that. Let me tell y'all something about Vlad. If y'all pay attention to his interview, he don't care nothing about the black culture. He really does not care or value the black culture. Okay, he's a goddamn Russian Jew or a Jew of Russian descent. Okay, he don't give a fuck about black culture. All he care about is making the profit. As long as benefiting his pockets. He wants these people to get on here, right, to incriminate themselves or talk about other people, so that way they can become the hot topic and he can go back and say something to somebody else. I.e., did you know that many rappers done got locked up because they done did an interview with this man? They done did an interview with this man. This man don't give a damn. He don't give a rat tail shit about nobody. He don't give a damn. So if y'all think Vlad is y'all friend and he care about the black culture and all that, no, the fuck he don't. He's just like any other blogger. He don't give a damn. As long as if it's paying the bills, right? If it's paying the bills, if it's making him the profit, he don't give a damn. So Ruby Rose, this little peon, this little female rapper, she gets on there. So he asked her about the video that she did. One of her songs that she did, she had some bloods in her video, right? So she get on there and he asked her some question about the blood. She was like, nah, I'm not a blood. I just did that for play. Yeah, this is what she told me. She said, I just did that for play. And she throwing up the blood symbol and all that. And I said, did this little girl just sit here and tell this goddamn cracker that she doing this shit for play? And this goes to show you that these kids today, especially somebody like her, she's very ignorant. That's not play. You don't get to play around with stuff like that. Because if you was really into that lifestyle, you wouldn't be talking about no damn play. And then let me tell you what got me about her. So 2 years later, they show up an Instagram video, right? Where she had on the little ski mask and she throwing up a GD symbol. It was some song from a rapper from Chicago. It's called GD Anthem. The song is called GD Anthem. So she throwing up the GD symbol. I'm like, wait a minute. Now, when you just on Vlad TV 2 years ago throwing up the blood symbol, now 2 years later you throwing up the GD symbol. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, kid, do you not know what the fuck you doing? Okay, then, well, I'll still be here. Okay, let me go ahead and put this link back on here for you. Okay, so let me put that link back on here. But yeah, this kid is just throwing up the symbol like she just throwing up the GD symbol. I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? I'm like, just 2 years ago, you was on Vlad TV and telling this man this is for play, and you throwing up the fucking symbol, the blood symbol on his damn platform and shit. And now 2 years later, you throwing up the GD symbol. What the fuck is wrong with you? If you guys who's not initiated to this lifestyle, y'all better educate yourself. Stop playing around with this shit. And it ain't the shit that these rappers want to commercialize off of. It ain't the shit that these motherfuckers want to make in some type of movie. This shit is real life. And them motherfuckers on the street, they don't discriminate. They don't give a damn. Like you play with that shit in their face if you want to. Try to run up on somebody and try to throw up a GD symbol and somebody as a vice lord and see what's gonna happen to your ass. Or try to throw up a blood symbol at somebody that's a Crip and see what's gonna happen to your motherfucking ass. Everybody ain't with that shit. Everybody ain't gonna let you play in their face and disrespect them in that type of manner. Everybody's not with that. You don't get to do no shit like that. And then you want to turn around and talk about play. Yeah, you gonna play with your life. Like this shit ain't, people, and I keep saying this over and over again. The main reason why people join gangs is because they're looking for multiple things. They're looking for protection. They're looking for foundation. They looking for structure. They doing it for family, for financial purpose. That's why, and you dealing with broken communities, okay? These gangs have formed out of broken communities, out of low-income areas, because there is lack of resources, there is cultural deprivation, there's economic deprivation. All right, these people are socially marginalized. So they formed the alliance to be able to claim something of their own, be able to claim a territory, be able to claim an environment, be able to claim a neighborhood, all right, to build some type of infrastructure, all right. So yes, violence is involved in it, and no, I don't condone it, but if you have understanding, you will see why. Because, okay, just imagine yourself. I grew up in the hood myself, okay? I lived in the hood. I was raised in the hood, all right? And just picturing you go outside, and the only thing you see is mostly people that's on drugs, people who are unemployed, a bunch of abandoned houses, 3 or 4 liquor stores. That right there in itself gonna drive you into committing criminal activities. That itself is gonna drive you into violence. Because you trying to it's all about survival of the fittest. It's about survival of the fittest. So you trying to figure out, well, how do I get up out of this motherfucking situation? How do I get up out of my economic crisis or my financial crisis? What do I do? And most of us come from parents and grandparents who did not own their own houses. They did not own their homes, okay? And they still don't own their home to this day. They either rent property or they getting through Section 8. Okay? So we really don't have a structural community or neighborhood for ourselves. So our people, they create their own territory, their own lane, their own zone. So because they feel like, hey, we need to have something that we can take control over, that we can call our own, that we can build business on. All right, so that's why these youngsters do that, because they want something of their own. They like, shit, we can't get it from nowhere else, so we gonna get it for ourselves. And then and here's the thing, it's just like war, okay? It's just similar, like, when you go into the military, but except that one is done on a corporate level, right? The white collar crime, and you got the blue collar level. That's it. It's very similar. It's like, okay, you build a civilization, right? So what you gonna do about that civilization? You're gonna do whatever you can to protect your civilization, right? You're gonna protect that land of yours, to make sure there's no outsiders coming in. If there is outsiders coming in, right, then they're gonna have to pay. They can't just come in there willingly. They're gonna have to go through the steps. They're gonna have to get a pass to come through. So what you're looking at is the game of chess. It's the game of chess, all right? So it's like that. And then when you go into your enemy's territory, right, or go into somebody else's territory, and you don't have that pass, then that can cost you your life. All right, you don't step in somebody else's territory and you think that you're going to sell or you're going to take over their clientele in their territory, that's going to cost you. So now either you're going to pay up and you do business with the people over there in that territory, or you're going to lose your life. And then when you lose your life because you step into your enemy territory, then guess what? Now you got the war that's taking place. Now we can say that it goes back to tribalism, okay? And that's a decent argument to make too, because even within the tribes, in the African tribes, they had that amongst themselves. It's like, all right, you can't come into this territory because you don't belong in this tribe. You don't even belong in this community. So you got to get a pass. We're going to protect this. Yeah. Okay, so I'm waiting on the brother Manny Fresh to come through. So if Manny Fresh can come through, I'll wait. Yeah, we can go ahead and we can talk, have a good conversation or whatnot. So I'm waiting for the brother to come through here. But yeah, man, y'all can't. It's a lot to it. People got to understand it goes deep. It's go deep. That's why I like the West Coast rappers. See, a lot of those West Coast rappers, especially the ones from California, they are very they're not only very lyrical, but they're very conscious. And they'll tell you their stories about their life growing up in LA or growing up in California, period. So I listen to rappers like Hobson, Mozzie, Westside Boogie, Larry June, Dom Kennedy. It's a long list. Even my man's Dizzy Wright, but Dizzy Wright's from Las Vegas. So yeah, a lot. And Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy HQ, Doggy Style. I don't know who that is. I never heard of him. I ain't never heard of Foggy either. Yeah, I ain't never heard of Foggy either. But yeah, and even the late rapper, what's that brother's name? He was just killed. Draco the Ruler, the other one. Yeah, Draco the Ruler. So a lot of these rappers from the West Coast, they had a lot of stories to tell. Even NWA. You know what I'm saying? They had stories to tell. OTFB, I think that's the name of another group. OTFB, they was under Death Row. They was another group that was like very very lyrical. They was socially conscious. They had a lot of stuff to talk about, man. They was dealing with that street politics. Yeah, and Ice Cube at that time, yeah, in his early days, yeah, Ice Cube. Yeah, definitely Ice Cube at that time period, yeah. Ice Cube had a lot to talk about ever since he joined the Nation of Islam. Because a lot of people, if y'all don't know, Ice Cube is Muslim. So yeah, ever since Ice Cube was in the Nation of Islam and under Khalid Muhammad, yeah, he brought a lot of social awareness to his music. He had a lot to talk about. He had a lot to really talk about, man. Damn, that pineapple juice is good. This pineapple juice right here is good, though. Shit. That's good. But yeah, these rappers had a lot to really speak on. I mean, you just have to really listen to their lyrics. And what's the name of that R&B group that did the song Gangster? Let me find the name of that R&B group. The name of the group that did the song Gangsta Lean is DRS. DRS, that's another group. I love that song, Gangsta Lean. That shit, that forever be my favorite song. No, not Bone Thugs and Harmony. No, not Bone Thugs and Harmony. DRS. Yeah, DRS. They was a one hit wonder. They didn't last very long. They was known for that song Gangsta Lean. Yep, DRS. Yep. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I'm waiting for somebody to come in. But while I'm waiting for this brother to come through, I want to show you guys an article that's very interesting here. It's called "How the U.S. Exported a Bloods and Crip Gang War to Vaseline." Let me show you guys this article. All right, so this comes from Vice.com. How the U.S. exploited a Bloods and Crip Gang War to Vaseline. A perfect storm of deportation and pop culture created a violent U.S.-inspired gang culture, and Vaseline is reeling from a spate of recent killings. Okay, so Basile's City, Basile's, a discarded bicycle lay on a dimly lit side street near pool of blood surrounded by around a dozen bullet shells in Basile's biggest city. It says local cops surveyed the scene, moving the body of 17-year-old Gerald Tillett Jr. into the back of a pickup truck as onlookers gawked at the most recent victim of a long-time simmering Bloods and Crips gang war that started in the U.S. Damn. In Basile City, Tillett Jr. was gangster royalty. Both his father and uncle, also murdered in 2016 and 2012, respectively, were leaders of an infamous blood clique known as the George Street Gang, named for the street that traverses the rough and tumble Southside neighborhood where the gang is based. Okay. And it says, only a few blocks from where he grew up, Tillett Jr. was riding his bike on May 7 in hostile territory, reportedly run by a rival blood set known as the Taylor's Alley Gang, when he was ambushed and shot to death. Such gang violence has become all too common in Basile City, explained Police Senior Superintendent Galberto Garcia, since the gang started way back in the 1980s when we started having the influx of deportees from the U.S. They started the Crips and the Bloods. As years progressed, these two gangs splintered, said Garcia. So we have a very big number now, maybe 20 to 25 different gangs scattered throughout the city, small fashion, with their own little affiliation to the Crips and the Bloods. Now, Bloods fight Blood and Crips fight Crips, with loyalty mostly boiling down to the block you were raised on, and long-standing beefs being handed down from generation to generation. All right, so as you can see, there's Basile City. Boy, and that look like our neighborhood right here. That look like it's somewhere in Bankhead. I'm just making a joke, but anyways, the murder of George Street gang member Tilly Jr. was especially worrisome. We are already expecting retaliation from his side, Garcia told Vice World News as he rode through the South Side in a police van. It didn't take long, roughly 48 hours after Tilly Jr.'s murder, radio chatter alerted Garcia to shot fires on the corner of Church and George Streets, on a few blocks from where the teenager was murdered. Police arrived to a gruesome scene. And it says blood covered domino pieces laid strewn throughout one room hovered. One man dead, two others wounded, one of whom would die later at the hospital. Gunmen riding a motorbike had arrived at the small dwelling, well known locally as a place for dominoes, betting games, and open fire indiscriminately. As police quarantined the scene, family members of one of the men came to identify the body. They couldn't believe that 51-year-old Raymond Garcia, a successful bank manager and loving father, could be a victim of a gang war. Dang. All right. Then it goes on to say Garcia, no relation to the superintendent, had been the valedictorian of his class. He didn't have any gang affiliation. Days later, his mother, Nevada Rita Garcia, told Vice World News that he had no one. He had what? He told Vice World News that he had one vice, dominoes. Whew, look at that. Damn. That's a crime scene right there. He said, I love my dominoes, and that is part of my life, said the elder Garcia, claiming she tried to get him to stop visiting the Southside Dominoes spot off of George Street. He has been playing in that area for quite some time, for many years before the guns ever started. But after his death, she also heard the rumors of how his love of dominoes led to his death. Those men had been playing dominoes with him for a very long time, but according to what I heard, one of the men, his children, are in the games, she said. Damn. And it goes on to say the rumors was that a man who frequented the domino games had several sons connected to the rival clique of the George Street gang, but after the death of Tilly Jr., he hadn't come around, knowing that he and his son could be targets. When they couldn't find the sons, they shot up the domino den, even though the father wasn't there. As Garcia's yellow casket was lowered into a pile in a cemetery on the outskirts of Basile City, a few days later, a family member placed a cross decorated with dominoes on top. I couldn't believe that this would ever happen to my family. I couldn't believe that this would happen to my son, she said, not in the wildest of my dreams. Wow. Damn. All right, then. So, let's see. In 1961, a hurricane disseminated the country, leading to a largest exodus of its inhabitants migrating to the United States. And by the end of the millennium, around 30% of the Brazilians lived in the U.S. A large swath of them settled in California, and like many migrants who came from impoverished regions, a vulnerable subsection of that population became involved in crimes. While immigrants from other Spanish-speaking countries in the region became involved in Hispanic street gangs like the Latin Kings or the Mexican Mafia, the English-speaking Afro-descendant Brazilians who chose to enter the gang life mostly joined predominantly black gangs that sprung up in the late 1960s, 1970s, like the Bloods and the Crips. And so after the Bloods and Crips started appearing in Basile. All right, so yeah, I would like to go ahead and play this video real fast. Let me just play this video real quick. But let me put up a disclaimer. Look at the disclaimer. Oops. All right, so as you can see, that's the disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allows it is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tilts the balance in favor of fair use. All right, so you gotta put that copyright claim disclaimer up there because they'll get you for that. Okay. Okay, so let me go ahead and play this video real fast. I want to play this for y'all.
In the gang-controlled streets of Belize City, the police are on high alert. A few nights ago, the son of a famous gangster was assassinated. Security forces say there will be payback.
The police just told us that someone was shot in the same district and somebody was shot just a few nights ago. We think it's a retaliation and we're headed there now.
3 people were shot, like just right there.
Yes, sir. We have one person who apparently has died and he's still at the scene. This area, this street is what we call Glen Street. And this area is basically the borderline between the two gangs that have been feuding for quite some time now.
You know this person?
Yeah, it's my uncle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Far from the island resorts and tourists, gangs have been plaguing Belize since the early 90s. Their violent feuds have pushed murder rates here to some of the highest per capita in the world. Police are now using COVID safety measures as an excuse to aggressively patrol the city's south side, a hotspot for gangs.
The curfew is normally 10 o'clock, right? But tonight is Friday and the curfew is till 12. So you'll see a lot of people out here, a lot of activities. If we see anyone that looks suspicious, if we believe that they have a weapon, a firearm, we'll stop and search them.
They've been deployed to tackle the gang problem. But what we're seeing is ordinary people being pulled over by heavily armed officers.
So you stop people and you just search them?
No, we have to have a reason to stop them. If you see a motorcycle and the person doesn't have a helmet, we'll stop. They're in a gang area, then we have to stop and check them.
So what's the hope in kind of stopping people and kind of patting them down? I mean, how does that help you guys?
Do help us to find firearms. We have found at least 13 firearms in this month alone.
The gangs here are loosely divided into Crips and Bloods. If that sounds familiar, that's because they're distant cousins of the US gangs by the same name. Selling weed is their main hustle.
What did you find?
That's cannabis. We got a tip from someone that it was hidden in a drain and we went to search for it.
On the edge of town, we managed to track down one of the gangs waging war here. It turns out this is what they're fighting over: $5 bags of weed.
What is it?
This is the Mexican Kush. Yeah, we don't sell hydro, straight Kush.
Wow.
The Kush is expensiver than the hydro.
Like, how much is it a part of everything that's going on with them?
Not part of everything, because without the weed or thing we can't eat.
These gangs aren't running a multi-billion-dollar drug trade like the Mexican cartels, but the rivalry between them is still ferocious. This man is the muscle of the group.
You consider yourself a Crip?
Yeah, I'm a Crip.
What made you want to join?
Oh, that's a habit, eh?
I born around Lone Blue. If I was born around red, then I was going to be red, right? But eventually, just got to get a first kill. And if you're strong enough, then, you know.
You have to kill someone and then you're in?
Yeah. Just don't tell shit to the cops, right?
How do the like different gangs work? How does the Crips work? How do the Bloods work here?
If you violate me, I'm about to kill you like point blank, right? Seconds. I know where I could meet you. At the shop, home, in your yard, anywhere. If you with us, you're just gonna hear bow. It's easy.
Just then, we hear noise in the background. There's been another shooting.
Yeah. Sound like somebody wanna come bust on us right now. I wanna get rid of this site because I'm kind of heavy, bro. I get a sense. You gotta state that shit. Fire, dog.
He disappears into the alley. No one was hit, but this man says that he was the target.
How many did they shoot?
The whole 5 shot.
5? Wow. You know who he was?
Oh, somebody don't like we.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting though. I mean, just the fact that yeah, it's a lot of Bezalese people. You know, the rapper Shine, that was a part of Bad Boy. He did the song Bad Boy. That was the top song back in the 2000 with Barrington Levy. Yeah, he's from Bezalese, but he grew up in New York. So yeah, they influenced by the Bloods and Crip culture heavily out there in Bezalese. And so when they went over to California, most of them went to California area. They was ingrained into that culture and that lifestyle. So yeah, it's very interesting. But just looking at the video, just looking at the neighborhood kind of remind me. One of the neighborhoods kind of remind me of Bankhead out here in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? It looked like Bankhead. You know how Bankhead if anybody been through Bankhead, y'all know how Bankhead look. So yeah, it kind of remind me of that. But you know, they you can tell they just heavily influenced by that. So this goes to show you that Bloods and Crips has become international. And what I found out, which shocked the fuck out of me, is that they got Bloods and Crips in Africa. What? They got Bloods and Crips in Africa? That shocked the fuck out of me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, y'all got tribes, but y'all also got gangs out there, okay? But yeah, it's heavily influenced. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They influence people internationally, worldwide. Like motherfuckers really watching. They even got the Crips and Bloods in Britain, Great Britain. Now, like they doing it out there. I'm like, damn, they even got their own drill music out there. I'm like, drill music? And the shit sound funny. I ain't even gonna lie. The British drill music sound funny as hell. Cause they accent. You know, just to hear them rap. But yeah, they got their own drill music and they got their own Bloods and Crips set out there. I'm like, damn. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, damn, what the fuck? I'm like, what the hell? But let me go ahead and play this video, play the remainder part of this video.
Does that happen a lot? These kind of things happen?
Sometimes it's got killing season, I think. Like fruit side. I got mango season. Not really worried. Too much thinking, I think not good for the brain. Because they're crazy. So I try for nothing.
To find out how the gang wars here got so out of control, we found someone who was there at
Melvin put, I'm proud my gang is just in Tula, Louisiana, and Las Vegas. Okay, so you're in Tula, Louisiana. Oh, I heard about Tula. Yeah, I heard about the city of Tula in Louisiana area. But you know, Louisiana off the chain too. You know what I'm saying? They off the chain over there. Yeah. In New Orleans and Baton Rouge, the high crime rates, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they off the chain out there in Louisiana. The block is hot over there, especially in New Orleans and Baton Rouge area. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so Okay, so Las Vegas GPK. Okay. Las Vegas. All right. All right, you out there in Las Vegas area too. All right. Mm. So yeah, see, the thing is with the Crips and Bloods, they are like I said, they the most international gangs, very well internationally known, and also they just got multiple set out there. I mean, I wonder how Raymond Washington will react now, just seeing that the Crips have gone international. I wonder how Tookie William will react now, seeing all the Crips over there in Britain and parts of Africa and over there in South America in Bezali area. I wonder how they will react to that. I know they'll probably be like, damn, wait a minute, this some new generation type of shit. Yep. Okay, so let me go ahead and play the rest of this.
At the very beginning. To speak to him, we went to the Belize Central Prison. Leslie Pipersburg is serving life for murder. He joined the Crips in the early 90s when he was 19.
You've been inside now for 18 years.
18 years, 10 months to be exact.
Wow. How did the games come to
The
Belize
gangs
first?
come to Belize from this, we got this movie they call Colors. With the Crips and Bloods movie.
The movie?
Yeah, the movie, yeah. Colors, the movie named Colors.
This 1988 movie starring Don Cheadle, Robert Duvall, and Sean Penn has a cult following here. It's about the gang culture in LA and the real-life feud between the Crips and the Bloods. On the real streets, gang violence was rapidly increasing in the US, and the government's answer was to mass deport immigrants convicted of violent offenses. Over 1,000 undocumented Belizeans were sent back to their country. But when gang members arrived here, they brought the feud with them.
When the movie come out now, they start take the same behavior like the movie, start claim a color.
So they took all of this from a movie and people coming back from the States.
Yeah, get adopted. So deportees. Then from then it starts, never stop. Some of the guys still fighting long time beef that is 10, 15 years old, and guys still fighting the beef.
How do you think it has changed since then?
Nowadays, the youth of Belize now don't catch anybody, any family member. If your brother, sister, maybe even up to your father, they want hurt.
Navidad Garcia's family has paid the price for these gang wars. Her 51-year-old son was one of the men killed the night that we went on patrol with the police.
It really hits us hard, the family. You know, it hits us hard.
Garcia says that her son wasn't a gangster, but a bank manager with 2 kids.
It was unbelievable that he was in an area that I think he shouldn't have been there.
What have you heard about why he was at that place at that time?
He likes his domino game.
So he was just playing dominoes, hanging out. He was just
playing dominoes at the spot place where he usually goes, right there at the spot. But according to what I heard, one of the men playing domino, his children, they are in the gangs. I think they were just scooting around and trying to find their targets. But I guess that they decided if they couldn't find the son, they would shoot their dad.
Belize's recently elected prime minister is trying to find a new solution to this very old problem. With millions of foreign tourist dollars at stake, he's keen to slow the violence.
Just this weekend, 4 people were killed in a matter of 5 days. Are you worried about that?
Dealing violence with violence will not work. We have to improve our intelligence gathering. We have to start to learn, which we are doing already. And that you do that by community policing. You have to make sure that we have a plan. But the other aspect is to be able to ensure that we can create opportunities for these people. Some of these little kids, get them off the streets.
My dear brothers and sisters, we gather here to commit our brother Raymond to God, our Father. Commit his body.
So far, the police have not been able to contain the violence. In the first 4 months of this year, robberies are up 70%, More than 50 people have been killed.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
It's dangerous. It's really dangerous. Killing people for nothing. And sometimes elder people are killed in crossfire. I don't know what is in their mind to go and shoot up on people's house. We had the police, we had the special force, but I think that they're not doing enough to keep down the violence.
And Almighty God remain with you always, in the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Damn, that's deep. It's really deep. It's really deep. All right, boy. Well, I've been here a little over 2.5 hours. Well, no, 2 hours and 7 minutes. I've been on this stream. But I want to thank you guys for coming through, watching or whatnot. So unfortunately, I won't be able to talk to the brother tonight because he said he had to take care of something. So, okay, but that's understandable. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the information I posted on here, the knowledge, and I'll make sure that I post some more information on my Facebook page, give you guys the read material. So yeah, give you guys some read material so you guys can look into and read into, you know what I'm saying? And that way you can be able to have a discussion, dialogue, share with people, whatnot, educate the people out there. So again, my main purpose of doing this is to like bring awareness and bring education to folks. You know what I'm saying? It's all, you know, and by this month being Black History, we should be able to learn about the historical events that's taking place. We should be able to know about the origins that happened and how it affect us presently, you know, in our present time. So we got to go into the origin of a lot of things. You know, there's going to always be the good, the bad, and ugly within our history. Again, good, bad, and ugly. So I want to do another video focus on how we got up in the inner city, the ghettos, the projects. I want to get into that focus because we got to really get down and pull back the layers of that. Because I think, again, a lot of people have a misconception, misunderstanding of what the ghetto is. And so I think that, yeah, that needs to be a part of the conversation as well. That really needs to be a part of the conversation. But anyways, y'all. Anyways, that's all I got to say for tonight. Again, thank you guys so much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you share the channel. Make sure you like the channel, whatnot. And we'll just go from there. All right. So I'll continue to go ahead and post up a lot of information as much as I can. Make sure I give y'all good contents as much as possible. So thank y'all so much. And with that being said, this your girl Tiffany. May peace and power elevation be to you guys. And I'll check y'all next time. So with that being said, deuces, y'all take it easy, be safe, and be careful out here, all right? And not just be careful as far as the violence is. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, we got him here. Hold on. Let's go. Hey, what's up?
Hey, my bad for the hold up.
Okay. What's up? What's going on?
I'm in, right?
Okay. All right, what's up, Manny? Nice to meet you.
You too as well, Miss Tiffany, man. I'm thankful for what you're doing and how you're grooving with it, man. Keep up the information, keep up what you're doing. I've been following you, so I'm seeing your growth. Keep it going. You know, it's the truth on that one, man. I don't know if I'm getting a double. Let me see. Okay, now we're good. Yeah, I had a double thing going on. But yeah, I appreciate what you're doing, man. I see you out here on it. You informing us, you know, so what you touched on just then really needs to be touched on a lot, you know, especially with us in the South. Because like I said, man, we truly are dying over a block that we never even been on. You know what I'm saying? It's just like up until now with social media where, you know, you got gangs that can link up with Crips and Bloods in LA and link up with them and take trips, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. But back in my days, I got shot when I was 14. So it was back in like 1994 when I got shot. So with me, that era, you know, it was no social media. You know what I mean? It was just like you getting word of mouth and you writing letters, you know, to someone to connect the chain, you know what I'm saying, from LA to Memphis, you know, as far as feeding information about how the gang should be structured and things like that. But
okay,
now,
so my bad. Let me ask you this. So you say you're a great Crip, right?
Great Street Crip, right.
Okay. How long you been in and how old was you when you got initiated?
I started joining the Great Street Crip when I was 11.
Oh.
Right. So like 2 years later, I actually got shot. You know what I mean? Just
have you
like
ever been incarcerated? Have you ever faced jail time or no?
No, I haven't been incarcerated, anything like that. Thank God. You know what I'm saying? The guys that shot me, you know, it was two gentlemen that shot me. They did 10 years, you know, but no, life goes on, man. I just been pushing my own thing, trying to, you know, empower these youth as catch as many as I can, you know, just to let them know that it is for real and that we really are taking our life for granted. And the thing is that they don't value their life, you know, so when they don't value their life, they don't know how to put a respect on the next person's life, you know. Memphis is so backwards right now that we even have it where it's Bloods and Crips in one gang. You know what I'm saying? It's like a hybrid gang that we call that they got going on now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? And what they is just your neighborhood. So it doesn't matter if you're a Crip or Blood, you know what I'm saying? It's like a hybrid of gangs, which is silly to me. You know what I mean? Because who's to say that you still beefing with this person over something, you know what I mean? So it's just not a safe way to do it. But these kids, man, are living so reckless right now, so they don't care. There's no rules or regulations.
Right. It's really not. And going back to what I was reading about Raymond Washington, like when he got out of prison, he started seeing all these things that was going on, seeing that they was not picking up guns and shooting at each other and shooting at the other rival. He was like, well, dang, this is not what I intended to be, like, damn. And so he realized that was beyond his control. He's like, well, I can't really do nothing about it because they ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? They ain't trying to listen to what I got to say. So it's like, okay, I might as well just go ahead and fall back. You know what I'm saying? Let me fall back on this because I can't do nothing about these some new cats that I don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? I ain't met these cats, you know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't, these cats wasn't around when I was, you know, out there. But now that I was locked up for 5 years and I come back out of prison, there's these cats over here like, man, what the hell's going on? They just out of control. They rebellious.
Right, instead of brawling, you know, And that's my thing with me too. Like when I joined, you know, I was expecting a scrap in the two, you know what I mean? Of course, you know, brass knuckles type things, you know what I mean? Accepting that kind of scraps, you know what I mean? But man, it got to the point where when I got into 7th grade, I had to scrap myself up with a gun, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like from that point on, you know, it was just like, man, you in it now. You know, we walking home, we getting shot at, you know what I'm saying, shooting it. It was just so much going on that it didn't seem like it was right for a 13-year-old to be going through that. And at this time I was 12, you know, because like I said, I started at 11, really started getting into it at 12. And honestly, I got shot 2 weeks after I turned 13. So I was really pretty much still 12 years old when I got shot.
So are you still like, what's your current state? Are you in the wheelchair now?
Yeah, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm paralyzed from waist down, so I'm in a wheelchair for sure.
Oh, dang.
Man, but hey, I'm still moving. I'm still grooving. I'm thankful. You know, I'm independent. That's why when I was,
so you've been that way since 13 years old?
Right on. You know, I'm 40 years old now. You know what I mean? So that's why I said, man, these kids, they gotta understand to value their life. I came with a good background. You know, I didn't come up with I came out a single parent home, you know, but my mom was firm, you know what I mean? And she instilled that in us to not be no dummies out here. But when I got out of the home, it was a totally different ball game, you know what I mean? Because now I'm out here, you know, I'm dealing with society, I'm dealing with the neighborhood, I'm dealing with the environment, you know what I mean? Mama ain't there all the time, you know? So it's so easy to get swayed to join a gang off of hanging around them, you know, off of thinking that it's cool, you know, thinking that, hey man, it seems like they got my back, you know, this, that, and the other. Man, the way I got ended up catching up getting shot is that I had 3 different
people. You got
people
caught slipping, kind of.
I had 3 people set me up that I thought was cool with me.
See,
They was
it's
acting like
always
they was
the
part of
people
my
that's
gang.
closest to you.
They get you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
These
the
guys
people
are
that's
supposed to
closest
be in
to
my
you
gang.
get you.
They supposed to be in the same gang that I was in, but they got swindled over to the next gang. You know what I'm saying? That's how they was doing it back then. You know, so they was using, like, you know, a guy may say, man, yeah, I'm rolling with you, I'm cripping with you. You know what I'm saying? You might have another guy on the side say, yeah, I'm rolling with you, I'm GDing with you. But at the same time, they done dipped into the blood gang or the vice lord gang, and now they get information from what they know on how y'all operate. And now you know what I'm saying? So I would say it was crazy times as far as gang banging then, because we was young, dumb, structure was really broken all up, communication wasn't clear, you know, so it caused a lot of things, you know what I mean? And that's why I say I was 3 different friends, man, 3 different guys that I thought was my friends. You know, one guy had me on the phone with his sister. Like, so the night I got shot, they shot my house up before they shot me. So I was on the phone with this one guy's sister. And just so happened, you know, well, really, I'm gonna tell you what happened with the whole situation, what exploded it. I had a next door neighbor. She got killed. She was 14 years old. She was an innocent bystander walking home from school.
Wow.
So she got shot in the back of the head by the opposite gang that I'm already beefing with. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't just out there terrorizing the gangs. You know, I'm more of a guy that just, you know what I'm saying, with the girls and the chicks, you know, doing my thing like that. So when my neighbor got killed, you know, that sparked a rage in me, which I hated did that. You know what I'm saying? I truly hated did that, but I didn't know how to channel it no different way. So I ended up seeing one of the guys who I was in tour with, you know what I'm saying, that was on the opposite side rather. Had a few words with him, you know, he was like, nah, man, I ain't with that. Later on, gonna find out he was with that. You know, me and the girl who got killed, brother, was walking to the store and ended up seeing the guy. So when we saw the guy who I had a few words with, he was with another guy that ended up being the guy that shot me. They ended up being the guy that was, you know, and one of the guys that shot me. So as we see them, we already kind of preparing ourselves like, okay, man, we go fight. You know, we thinking about fighting. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, bro, we get up out of here. You got the tall dude, I got the short dude. You know what I mean? We go work it out, bro. We go scrap it out. We'll get onto this house. As soon as we leave out of this grocery store that we was going to, we look around the corner. It's like 10 of them out there. You know what I'm saying? We see nothing but red shirts and khaki pants and pistols hanging out. I'm like, oh, bro, these guys got guns, dude. What we gonna do, bro? You know, so we have to figure out a way to get home. We got home, whatever, you know. The next day they kind of drove around the neighborhood, couldn't find me, you know what I'm saying? The girl who I knew, her brother, me and him, he was in my apartment, which was kind of odd that he was in my apartments, you know, but I'm just like, it's cool, it's my guy, you know what I mean? So like, hey, bro, whenever you want to come and holler, because just come and knock on the blue blinds, you know, because I didn't want nobody knocking on my door. You know, my mom is kind of protected, so she go see, you know, flags hanging out your pocket, she gonna know what's happening, you know what I'm saying? So like, bro, just come and knock on the blue blinds whenever you want to holler at me. Now I come on outside, holler at you. The same night as I'm sitting in the house, and man, this was nothing but God. My mom had an all-white living room. You know what I'm saying? So that you don't go there. You know what I mean? We rarely in the living room. So mom had an all-white living room. So I caught the phone call and left out of my room to go in the living room to continue talking to the young lady. So as we talking, we heard gunshots in the background. So she comes to me like, dang, somebody shooting in your house, right? So I'm like, dang, what the hell? I said, nah, ain't nobody shooting my house. You know, I kind of took it as a crazy way, like, what the hell? I'm like, nah, ain't nobody shooting my house. I said, man, it's probably just some guys at the block with a new gun. You know what I'm saying? Just testing their gun out, because that's how it is in the hood. Not knowing the whole time that my bedroom was shot up. So the next morning, still didn't notice till me and her got out the phone. Boom, we got out the phone with each other. They found out, I guess that was them. We stayed on the phone, I guess, long enough for them to find out that I wasn't dead. You know what I'm saying? When I'm peeping the game out. So the next day, I'm showing my guys like, man, yeah, they shot my window up, bro. You know what I'm saying? All this, that, and the other, man. I'm like, man, yeah, they done got me, bro. So my mom come in, I'm telling her, I'm like, man, you know, I'm trying to play it to her like, I don't know what happened. You know, somebody just misfired, you know. But the way the bullets travel through the home, you know, if I was sitting in my living room, if I was sitting in my bedroom, I would have been shot in the head. You know what I'm saying? Because the bullet came like it hit my TV. You know what I'm saying? So I had an entertainment stand. So it hit the TV, and I had a chair right in front of the TV. So if I was sitting in that chair, it would have caught me in the head, you know, or it traveled so far that it went through the walls. So it went into the other bedroom. So my little brother would have just got up, and at this time he was like maybe like 5 or 6. But if he would have got up, the height of the bullet, the way it was coming in the home, it could have caught him in the head if he would have just got up and went to the bathroom. You know, anything could have happened like that. And that's what made me realize, like, dude, nah, this is on me. You know what I'm saying? So the next night, like I said, the next night when they came to do the shooting, when they finally came and shot me rather, I just kind of, like I said, was showing my guys, like, man, this is where they came in at, you know, this is where they, you know, shot my windows up and shot the house up at. We back on the front porch. We just back talking. So I see 2 guys walking down. So I see the guys walking down. I'm telling my guys, like, I said, man, one of my guys said, man, there's some bloods. I'm like, bro, no, that ain't them. I said, man, there's some cats that go here. You know, you kind of try to learn your neighborhood. I'm like, man, no, there's some cats, bro. That's gonna go down to get their beer. This is the same time they always go get their beer. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it's that. So by the time I realized it wasn't them, you know, the guys kind of like stepped their pace up. Not so much a ran, but you know, you walk your pace up, you step your pace up with your walking. So they kind of like pacely walked up toward me. And by that time, one guy had the 38 to my face. I'm looking straight down the barrel of it. The other guy had the 9 to my stomach. So the guy with the 38 to my face, he was like, bye. So when he said bye, I'm just like, damn, they got me. You know what I mean? I'm just like, man, I said, but I can't run into my house because I'm right in front of the crib. I said, man, I can't run into the house because I'm going to put my brother and my mom in jeopardy. And they had nothing to do with me. I decided to join the game. You know what I'm saying? So what I did was I took off. You know what I'm saying? I tried to run away from my home. So as I'm running, they behind me steady dumping, you know, steady just shooting. I mean, letting go. So again, it's two guns now, a guy with a 9 and a guy with a 38. So they constantly squeezing the trigger. So I ended up falling and tripping, which I'm like, damn, how did I trip? And I run this block. I've been running up and down these apartments, you know what I'm saying, for years. I know my neighborhood. So I'm like, man, how did I fall? This was when a bullet hit into my shoulder. Because when a guy came to me and said bye, I ended up kind of ducking to the side a little bit. So the bullet hit me in my shoulder. But as it hit me in my shoulder, it traveled to my spine. But I'm not knowing it because I'm running. You know, I'm not feeling God protected me where I didn't feel any of the bullets. I couldn't tell you what a bullet shot. I couldn't tell you what a gunshot feel like. You know, I truly didn't feel any of it. So as I'm running, you know, to get to away from my home, I'm really trying to run to the house where I know the guys got the guns at. You know, I'm trying to run away like where I know somebody on the block. You know what I'm saying? It's finna put a stop to this. So I tripped and fell, and then I lay between 2 cars. So as I'm laying between the cars, you know, I'm like, oh man, this is it. You know what I mean? You know, I'm like, damn, this is it, bro. This is it. This is it, man. You know what I'm saying? You rush your life. So the guy with the 38 who told me bye, he turned around and kept running on off. The other gentleman with the 9, he turns around and started back shooting at me as I'm on the ground. So when he was shooting at me, my mom just so happened to open up the door. And when she opened up the door, that's when she saw what was going on. And he looked and, you know, didn't know who was coming out the door. So he stopped shooting. So my mom truly was my angel to save me, because if she wouldn't have opened up that door, he would have still been dumping at me. So, I mean, to this day now, I mean, my mom is my angel. I hold up high, you know, and I'm out here fighting for these guys, man, because these kids got to understand, man, this gang banging crap, bro, ain't it. It ain't it. Your family is more important than anything, man. Your family is your life.
That's deep. Damn. That's deep.
Man, that's life. You know what I'm saying? That's life. But I'm thanking God for, you know, my ability. You know, I travel a lot. You know, I stay up and down the interstates, man, on the highways. You know what I'm saying? I'm very independent. I have my own crib, you know, have my own job. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on my own. I thank God that I'm able to be independent as I am. But at the same time, if I can stop any kid from going through what I went through at the age of 13, or any parent to stop them from seeing what I had to see, or what my mom had to, you know, my mom had to come out and lift me up into the house. You know, her and my friend had to choke me in the house and lay me down on the floor. So mom, you know, I'm her firstborn. You know what I mean? I'm the one that she had so much expectations for. So of course she never showed it in front of me, you know, or hurt, you know, which I can say, man, it's just the strong Southern roots. You know what I'm saying? You know, we don't bend too easy like that. We got to understand.
Right.
You know, we come out of logs. We don't come out of cloths. So man, with my mom being strong as she is, she just never showed it in front of me. But I know it probably hurt her. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You know, I know it too.
Because you know, and then sometimes, you know, parents might feel like, well, dang, what did I do wrong?
What did I do wrong? You know, and that's why I always
where did I mess up as a parent for my child to want to get into the lifestyle?
But I let her know. I said it was me. You know what I mean? It was nothing on her. It was me. You know, I love the color blue. I love the color purple. So You know, it was just me and hanging with them guys, man. Just started gang banging, you know, and it is what it is. But what was kind of crazy, well, not so much crazy. What I did was that the video that you was that's just displayed by Belize, you know, and how those guys were like, they just got into it because they watched Colors. Oddly enough, I watched Colors and digged it too. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy how Hollywood put Colors out there, and it really just, you know what I'm saying, like all across America with this gang banging. And it caused us to be so confused that we didn't know really what we was doing or banging for no reason, you know what I'm saying? And truly destroyed us, man. Hollywood did that, you know.
Oh yeah, Hollywood, yes, because Hollywood
did
create the stereotypical narrative.
Of
And
course.
when you create a stereotypical narrative, right, to draw attention to get a viewership, you're going to not only do that, but you're programming the minds of those that are watching, especially young people.
That don't know better.
Yeah, and so
You know?
they were programmed. The people in Vaseline, they was programmed, seeing what they saw in the movie. They picked up on it and they said, okay, we're gonna go with this. And you know, you had, by you being young at that time when that movie came out, you was programmed on it.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. I was already paying attention to it, digging it, you know what I'm saying, man. Watched it numerous times, like damn, Colors banging, you know what I'm saying? And it truly led me to feel like I was comfortable when the gang started coming to my city. I'm like, I'm finna roll with the Crips, you know, I'm rolling with these guys, and I kind of like their style, like they was doing on Colors, you know. So I'm like, I'm gonna roll with these cats, man. I'm gonna get down with them. So started getting down with them, man, and like I said, man, I truly wasn't on. I was only in a gang. I was only active in a gang, I would say, for a year and a half to 2 years before I was shot and paralyzed. You know,
Then
but I'm
after that,
thankful.
you kind of just went your own
Laid
way,
it
or you were
back.
still active.
I was still active in a way, you know what I'm saying? But I thought that I can change it. You know what I'm saying? I thought that I was okay, man. I'm gonna get these guys, man. We're gonna switch it up, bro. We gonna be positive, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be back to where Crips really originated from. Man, that didn't go too good. You know what I mean?
Because a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
know
them,
what I'm
they
saying?
already got their minds made up pretty much.
Of course, and they still are ready to kill for me. You know, like even to this day, my friends are like, man, let me go and do that, bro. I'm like, nah, it's not that, man. You know what I'm saying? God is the best revenge, bro. Like I tell them, I said, bro, I'm still living. Y'all touching me, y'all talking to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a t-shirt, I'm not a memory. You know what I'm saying? You are talking to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you cats, you know. So nah, bro. No need to kill them. Let God handle all that, man. I said, man, they did 10 years locked down, bro. I said, I ain't been locked down at all. You know what I'm saying? I said, I just have to learn to move around differently in this wheelchair. Other than that, man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. And I just,
Wow.
you know what I'm
So
saying?
I want to ask a question. Okay, let's talk a little bit. Since you Grape Street, do you
Right on.
know the history behind Grape Street? Like who's the founder of Grape Street, Crips, and all of that?
Right. So Grape Streets came out of Jordan Washington projects, you know, from off of Menace to Society.
Okay, and that's in LA, right?
Right, out of LA. Right.
Okay.
So what was told from us, and that's why I said it was just like we had to do our own, we got our information from different people that was saying, okay, man, this is how we got down, this is how we got down. What I found out, I really found out more about my gang after I got shot, because I had somebody that was older. Like, bro, look, you done got shot for this right here, man. Let me put you on game. Read this book. You know what I'm saying? Read this and read that, man. Now you can kind of understand what's going on. So I was totally thrown from who the original Grape Street Crip was, you know what I'm saying? And all of that, man. It's just like it was just pushed to us like bang, bang, bro. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, that's how I was pushed in the South. So I was like, bang, man. Grape Street, man, they even was giving us the wrong block to represent. You know what I'm saying? Like they were like, oh man, it's 103rd Street. Man, you look it up, it's 143rd Street. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it was so much misinformation that was given to us. And like I said, when I really analyzed the crap, like, man, I got shot for a block I even never been on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I even picked the grass up off of this block. You know what I'm saying? I even scarred my knees up on this block. I done got shot and paralyzed from this. So man, that did it on that. So as far as getting great information about what started and who started it and how was it, you know what I'm saying, pushed, we never really got there until we had to dig into that on our own. So at the age of 12, no, I ain't know none of that. I didn't know who our leader was. I only knew we had a OG that was in Memphis, you know what I'm saying, at the time. but I didn't know about the OG who started it out in LA. Real talk.
Oh, okay. So you ain't find out till later?
Right on. You know what I'm saying? How it really involved out of the Jordan projects.
Jordan Project. So you didn't know the name like of the individual that started Grape Street. You just know it coming out the projects.
Come out the projects. You know, that's how it was told to us, you know. So, and I'm still, you know what I'm saying, digging the information up because it's still new stuff that's coming out, you know, just like documentaries and everything that's coming out now. Now people are writing books and things like that. You know, what put me on a lot of it more was reading the book Monster by Cody Scott. You know what I'm saying? The book Monster, man, my mom had laid me. So when look out, man, right on.
Yeah,
So,
I did a video about him as well, so it's on here.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check that joint out till I saw that. Like I said, I've been watching your page. I've been following you, man. That's why I said keep doing what you're doing with it, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was more than glad to join on in and give my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Not so much my opinion, just my thoughts about what I see and what's going on with the gang culture, as far as how it is involved to where it's just senseless right now. And like I said, in Memphis, it's not even structured. You know, you can have Bloods and Crips in the same car banging against somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that's how they rolling now. You know, you can see a whole group of guys out represent, like they have different codes, different names. You know, I'm not gonna put about a name out there. It's, you know what I'm saying, but it's different names, different little streets and everything. Even the rap scene in Memphis. A lot of those little
Now,
rap
are you from Orange Mound, Memphis, or are you from the other part of Memphis?
No, all right. So with Orange, when it comes to Orange Mound is just an area. You know what I'm saying? It's just like Bankhead. You know what I'm saying? It's just an area. You know what I'm saying? So it's still Memphis, Tennessee, but it's just it's just a neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But what Orange Mound is so important because it was the first black.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Right on. Okay. It was just like Harlem. You know what I'm saying? So that's what make Orange Mound so important to us. You know. So, but no, I'm from a park called Black Haven, which is White Haven. So and what's funny is that where I'm from in Memphis, Elvis Presley house is like 10 minutes away from me.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So Elvis Presley house is in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So again, it was called White Haven, but we changed it to Black Haven because of the fact that we here. You know what I mean? You know, it's blacks here. You know, and it's sad. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wow, dang. You have really went through a lot, and you know you still standing. You know you standing strong, and that's a powerful thing. That's a powerful thing. You say you mentor a lot of young people.
I do. I have to do that, man. I have to do that for sure because I can't see it happening to nobody else. You know what I'm saying? If I can stop it, then I can stop it. You know, I have a thing called Valley Youth Academy that I'm working with some guys out of Mississippi with. I have a thing here in Memphis that I'm doing, which is called Hope, Love, and Grace, .org that I'm working with. So yeah, I'm working with a couple of mentorship programs. I'm waiting on the Memphis Grizzlies to get back with me so I can get into one of their mentorship programs as well too. I'm just trying to help out as many as I can right now.
Okay, that's great. That is wonderful. That's magnificent. All right, well, brother, I thank you and I appreciate you coming through and showing your support. And I thank you for telling your story. Hopefully, you know, your story can bring inspiration to other people out there, especially those who got family members or who got kids that's into that lifestyle. So hopefully they can be able to learn and be able to, like, you know, think before it's too late.
There you go. That's why I said take it back. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like take it back and think about it, man, because what we do cause a domino effect. You know what I'm saying? What I did caused a domino effect. You know what I'm saying? It changed my life. You know what I mean? It changed my mother's life. You know, it changed my brother's life. You know what I'm saying? So it changed our life. So you just got to watch your actions, man, because your action is going to come from some reaction that you may not be ready for.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah. All right, then. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And I thank you for inviting me onto your platform, man. Miss Tiffany, keep it going. I'm following you. I'm rooting for you, man. We need to get that channel pumping, man. I'm with you.
All right, then. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here and supporting my channel. Thank you.
For sure. Peace and love.
All right. Peace. All right. All right. Yeah. Wow. That's a powerful bill right there. That brother is a survivor. Like, I don't think I can say he a survivor for real. You know what I mean? And he's still here to tell his story after somebody tried to attempt to take his life. He's still here. You know what I mean? He's still maneuvering around. He's still doing what he got to do. Shout out to the folks out there in Memphis, Tennessee. You know, to the people out there, you know what I'm saying? Y'all You be safe out there. I mean, it's crazy out here in the South, man. It's crazy out here. It's crazy out here in Atlanta. It's crazy out there in Memphis, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Miami, Florida. Yeah, shit. It's crazy out here in the South, man. So y'all just gotta be careful. Y'all be safe out there. But you know, his story is very inspirational, and I hope that somebody can take that and be able to learn and be able to gain something out of it, you know what I'm saying? And should be able to think twice, man, because as you can see, what that brother was telling you, that goes to show you that it comes with a cost. And what he was saying, that these are the people that knew him, okay? That people that he was close with that did this to him and that was claiming another set or another game. And it happens, see, and this is the thing that people got to understand. When you get involved in any type of, or not just a gang organization, but just organization in general, you know what I'm saying? When you get involved in that kind of stuff, you're going to have the people that's closest to you. They going to be, you got to keep a close eye on them. You got to watch them because you don't know what their next move going to be. You don't know if they ready to turn on you. And when they turn on you, it's too late. I mean, look at what happened with Nipsey Hussle. The people that was close to him, his homeboy, somebody he knew, somebody he helped, he turned on him. He turned on him. This is somebody he knew. So it happened. So you got to keep a close eye out when you get involved and when you start doing things. You know what I'm saying? So you can't always do things with somebody that's related to you or somebody that's your best friend or whatever, because you don't know. You don't know what their next move gonna be. You don't know what their intentions are. Shit real out here. Hold on. Oh, whoa. Melvin said my own homie shot me over a gun. Do you see that? You see that? You see this? These guys, okay, these two guys just told me it was somebody that was close to them that tried to take them out. This goes to show you how deep this shit is, man. This shit is so deep. This shit is not just a little walking apart type of shit, man. It goes deep. It goes deep. You got to know what the fuck you getting yourself into when you get initiated into the lifestyle. You got to know what are you getting yourself into. What the hell you getting yourself into? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know the motherfuckers that you protecting, that you looking out for could be the ones that's planning to come against your ass or try to take your ass out? They might try not only do that to you, they try to go after your family. They might go after your woman or your man. You got to keep a close eye on your surrounding, your circles, man. Because you might have some squares up in your circles. You better keep a close eye on your circle. That's who you got to watch. You got to watch your circles. I'm telling you, you know, life is a chess game out here. Life is a chess game. You know what I'm saying? You got to play them chess moves, man. You can't be out here playing checkers. You know, you got to learn the game of chess. And you're not going to win every time, of course. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a master at playing chess, but I know enough to know that this is what life is. Because that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to read. That's why people need to read the 48 Laws of Power. Read the 48 Laws of Power. Read the Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Okay? Read that shit. I know a lot of y'all might think, oh, that book is so manipulative. Oh, that book teaching folks how to goddamn do manipulative shit. Well, yeah, but on top of that, it's educational and it's very informal. It's very informal because you be able to learn about people's human behavior, human character. You'll be very cognitive of that. You'll be able to recognize, like, damn, this shit is real. This how motherfucker is for real. Like, this how these folks is, man. This is what they do. This is how people roll. That's their character, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to read stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Read the 48 Laws of Power, read The Art of War, and there's another book, also read Prince by Machiavelli. That book, you talking about ruthless? That book right there is ruthless. That's a ruthless ass book to read. But no, you seriously need to read those books because you understand, you learn how human behaviors are. You learn about cognitive behavior, cognitive psychology. Once you learn cognitive psychology and cognitive behavior, then it will all manifest itself and it will all make sense. It will all make sense. All right, then you'll be able to learn how to move, and you'll be able to know your environment, know what you're going to get into. You have to be careful at all times. But all right, y'all. So I've been on here long enough, so I'm about to go ahead and call it a night. But thank you guys for tuning in, watching, and thank you for supporting my channel. For those of you in the chat, thank you so much. Thank you, Brother Manny, for coming through. I appreciate you. I appreciate you a lot. I thank you for telling your story, and hopefully somebody will be able to watch this video and they'll be able to be inspired and be able to do better. So thank you, and shout out to Melvin Johnson. Thank you for coming through, Melvin. I appreciate it. And for the rest of you guys, I have not seen, haven't said anything to. Shout out to y'all too. Yeah, so with that being said, please make sure y'all be safe. Shout out to Brother Chauncey. Shout out to Brother Vinyasa. Thank y'all for coming through. Yep, and make sure y'all share the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, and share the video contents out here. And that's that. All right. Peace and power, elevation be to all you. This your girl Tiffany, and I am logging off, and I'm saying deuces. All right, and be safe, and be with y'all next time. All right. Thank you.